system is failing. We're going to have more homelessness, more unemployment, and the government has to print more money. It's a command and control economy where the government tells you everything. I just don't trust our government. And they're going to have to start printing pretty quickly. And the more they print, the less value purchasing power the dollar has, or the loonie, or the yen, or the peso. People are talking about inflation. I think we're in depression right now, and we're going to be the biggest depression in world history.
In the 1970s, that's when the world was changing.
The biggest bust in the history of the world is coming up. It's pensions. They trusted the government. They trusted their pension would be there, and it's going to go bust. And that's us. We'd get crushed.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As ladies and gentlemen, I have posted what I think is the best buy in the entire crypto market right now down in my OnlyFans in the description below. And I've also posted another hidden gem within that video for every single one of you. Please subscribe because that token is extremely undervalued relative to the entire crypto market. Now, that being said, I had a poll yesterday of how high the XRP community believes XRP could reach during the next bull run. Around 40% believes $5 to $10 is the peak. 18% believes 15 to 20. 14% believes 25 to 50. And we still have 28% that believes $100 to $589 is where we could go. This is amongst about 10,000 people, and in my personal opinion, I think that the most likely scenario is a $15 to $20 range XRP for next cycle. We did miss the last bull run and have been artificially suppressed due to this SEC case, and especially considering where we've been after this XRP non-security designation, and how much additional partnerships and utility could be coming down the road, as well as news. I think that is the most likely range we're getting to. And something I would like to say to the individuals that believe in the $100 to $589 range, all I would stress is, do take realistic profits along the way up. I'll always have a bag of XRP into infinity and beyond. But making money means taking profits along the way. I hope I've inculcated that message into your mind. And now I want to discuss a couple things, specifically the biggest thing going on in the world stage today. Now, guys, as long as you haven't been living under a rock over the past couple days, you'd know that the Brit Summit 2023 is occurring, where the leaders of the Brics nations are meeting up for the first time in a while, and a lot of major announcements are going to be coming. First and foremost, as far as I can tell, the announcement of a gold-backed Brics currency is only a rumor and not actually factual yet. However, I'm going to be breaking down plenty of things that have actually been occurring recently. And something I do want to discuss is Jim Rickards talking about what this is all about, what the Brics nations are all about, what the conflict in Russia-Ukraine is about. And it's always been about the financial system and the petrodollar. The dollar and the current financial system is the head of the snake for the global elites. And right now that's under threat on the world stage.
Our troops and military hardware send a clear message. The Doomsday Deal cannot be broken. The petrodollar accord is sacred, and we'll protect it at any cost. Well, I should rephrase that. We used to protect the petrodollar accord, because then came President Joe Biden and his cast of clowns. Thanks to Biden's incompetence and the huge mistake he made on February 24th, 2022, the unthinkable has now happened. The Doomsday Deal is broken. Because of Biden's mistake, the genius agreement that made America into a global superpower is falling apart in front of our eyes. And I predict, based on my 40-plus years of global financial experience, the U.S. dollar will die with it, bringing in hyperinflation like we've never seen, crushing the value of money in your savings and retirement accounts. tanking our economy and changing our country's global standing forever. Thanks to Biden's weakness and foreign policy failures, our enemies and even our allies are emboldened. The Doomsday Deal is cracked wide open. This is all happening as I speak. Here's another thing you won't find in any history books. In 2000, Iraq's leader Saddam Hussein, once a staunch ally of the U.S., announced his country would unhitch its oil business from the petrodollar. Instead, he would begin accepting euros for oil, not dollars. By 2002, Saddam had fully converted to a petro-euro, and that was a big threat to the petrodollar accord. If one oil nation broke away, would others follow? Immediately, the U.S. dropped crushing sanctions on Iraq's economy, but we were just getting started. After all, this is 2002. The 9/11 attacks had just happened. Now Saddam Hussein was a monster, no question. But Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. Most of the hijackers were Saudi. None were Iraqi. Nevertheless, the White House began claiming Iraq was involved in 9/11 and that Saddam's government was stockpiling weapons of mass destruction, those infamous WMDs. You know what happened next. The U.S. invaded Iraq in 2003. We never found any WMDs, but we got rid of Saddam. He spent his last moments hanging from a jailer's noose. But here's something few people know. The U.S. had always planned to invade Iraq. Take a look at a Pentagon document called Foreign Suitors for Iraqi Oil Field Contracts. It details how Iraq's oil fields would be carved up and given to Western oil companies. The document is dated March 5th, 2001. That's 6 months before 9/11 happened, and it's a full 2 years before the invasion of Iraq. Of course, after the war and Saddam's execution, Iraq's new regime went back to trading their crude oil for dollars. The petrodollar accord was safe again.
And now we are here, ladies and gentlemen. We're at a turning point on the global stage. We are witnessing a paradigm shift in the global financial system. Questions are being asked about the petrodollar and its standing as the world's reserve currency. Can Saudi Arabia switch from the dollar to the yuan? Can we see other nations pivot away from the dollar as Bolivia, as the latest South American country, to use the yuan for trade? Remember a couple months ago when the yuan settled its first liquid natural gas trade? Remember when China said it will set up yuan clearing arrangements in Brazil? China, left and right, is undermining the United States' stance as the global superpower. And one of the biggest and most prophetic things about the current moment we're in right now is that we are in the moments right before what I think could be a massive global conflict or a massive global resolution. Things are getting critical on the global stage, and Ray Dalio, whose book The Changing World Order is a must-read for the entire XRP army, as I've recommended it for about a year now. He breaks it down in this video tremendously. If you don't have time to read the book The Changing World Order, I would at least recommend you watch this YouTube video, because it explains what's about to happen perfectly. And I'm going to play you a brief clip from that, so you all know what's coming next.
To understand China's patterns better, I also studied the rise and fall of Chinese dynasties and their monies back to the year 600. Because looking at all these measures at once can be confusing, I'll focus on the four most important ones: the Dutch, British, US, and Chinese. You'll quickly notice the pattern. Now let's simplify the form a bit. As you can see, they transpired in overlapping cycles that lasted about 250 years, with 10 to 20-year transition periods between them. Typically, these transitions have been periods of great conflict because leading powers don't decline without a fight.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, what's so interesting is that over the next couple days, we're going to be witnessing one of the biggest counters in world history to the US dominance and their upcoming agenda. It's long been stated that Brics is a counter to the G7. And over the next couple days, I genuinely think their game plan is going to be revealed fully. You see, the Brics nations have over half the world population, a substantial amount of resources, a lot of global GDP, and military might. And as Ray Dalio stated, in times of change of world superpowers, there's typically a conflict. Right now, Russia-Ukraine is only the beginning. China, Taiwan, and the United States is another major moment, as Taiwan is the microchip hub of the world. There is not going to be a moment that goes by over the next couple years that isn't going to be filled with turbulence. But as I stated in my previous video, I believe that turbulence is going to be powerful for the XRP army. The XRP community, in my opinion, has been on the money when it comes to all these global agendas. We were the ones talking about the Brics nation since 2018. And now, they're taking center stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I have my third episode of the Aggressively Average podcast that I'm gonna post very, very soon. And this is gonna be the best one yet, discussing specifically how I believe XRP was created to help prevent World War III. We're either gonna get a peace deal or things are gonna heighten up as far as global conflicts are concerned. Let's see what happens next. But to cap off this video for today, I'm gonna play you some clips from the Brit Summit that I think will inform all of you about what's been going on behind the scenes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
Yeah. Look, some of the benefits. Let's talk about the Brics Development Bank. I was in Shanghai in 2014 when it was announced that the headquarters are going to be in that country, in China. There was lots of optimism, lots of hope. Has South Africa benefited from this bank?
South Africa has. You know that there are projects that the bank is funding within the development bank. And therefore, South Africa is able to tap into those resources. I spoke to the vice president of the Brics Bank, Leslie Mastop, 2 weeks ago. He pointed out that they are going to make announcements during this gathering where they are going to focus on energy. And you know very well South Africa is struggling. And particularly at the time where we are grappling with the load shedding. He also pointed out that they will be funding the infrastructure. So let's wait and see. We saw them going to the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, good results there. And therefore, I think there's a way in which South Africa can utilize the Brics Bank to address the challenges that we have, particularly the infrastructure. Because
you know, it's good evening. Thank you very much. It's really unprecedented that the president would address the nation on a matter of a single foreign policy variant, because the president announces the policy of the government at the State of the Nation. That's where he lays out clearly what the government intends to do. Now that the president is addressing the State of the Nation, it has created, he's addressing the nation, it has created a lot of hype and really speculation that may be flying around. But we want to hear what he wants to say, because from the media release that one has seen, he is going to be speaking about foreign policy and the Brit Summit. So we really don't know. And I'm saying it's unprecedented. But the expectation, of course, is that this Brit Summit should come up with concrete steps. One of the things that South Africa and the continent would expect is a clear access to a big market that is within the BRICS. That's why you see so many people interested to join the BRICS. The BRICS so far, it's a $28.6 trillion business. So everyone wants a slice of that pie. But there are other political issues. Remember, the summit is it's a meeting of heads of state, and it's a political meeting essentially. That's where you get political heads to make real decisions that actually, and I think this time around the expectation is that this decision have serious implication in terms of changing how we relate to each other around the world. It's challenging the hegemony of the IMF and the World Bank, because the Brics Bank, it's there. It's a force to be reckoned with. So there are a lot of changes that are likely to come out of this meeting that we all expect.